Hello and welcome to another game update. In this patch we have quite a few exciting changes, including some new maps, so hang around to the end to see it all. So let's start with optimizations. Performance optimizations have once again occurred, and this time to the way the game calculates a number of things such as sensors and the sensor networks, point defense prioritization, radar cross-section calculations, and the frequency of missile position updates. So I'll put those on the screen so you can see that. Otherwise, what you're seeing in the background is the new dynamic time dilation. So this will occur for all players when the fixed frame processing time becomes too long, which is things that we've seen when a number of missiles have been identified on the screen. Now what will occur is the time dilation will kick into effect, slowing down the game for all players until the frame rate can return back up to normal, generally when a large missile salvo has been completed. To support this, missile track number and range text is no longer displayed unless the mouse is hovered over the track. So this will remove the clutter on the screen and increase the performance as well. So frame rate drops should occur a little bit less now, and then with the added effects of the time dilation, it should make for a better experience. For those who have experienced the frustration of the multiplayer host dropping and not being aware that they'll also end the game, there'll now be a message after the host surrenders, letting them know that if they close the match, then it's going to end the game for all other participants. So hopefully we see less of that, although it hasn't been too prevalent in the games that I've been playing. One of the new features added is that you can now see all the players on which teams and who's spectating when you press the backtrack key on your keyboard when in a multiplayer or single player game. Backtrack key is the key located below escape and above tab, from which you can then open their Steam profile, add them as a friend, send them a private message through Steam, or you can mute the player so that you don't receive any in-game communications from them, such as the all or team chat. In addition to this, when you're now on the battle report screen, you can mouse over a player's name and that'll open their Steam profile. So here you'd be able to do anything that you normally do with Steam, just as you may also use the functionality from the player list. So ships in formation that have their guide ship eliminated will no longer automatically disband. You'll have the opportunity now to use the assume leader command on another ship so that you can continue the battle without having to then reset that formation from scratch. You can see this in the background clip. A new feature is priority-based sorting for HUD markers. So when you're launching a lot of missiles from your ship, you'll always be able to select your ship first as opposed to those missiles. So you don't have to then rely back on the ship card or the number hotkeys. I can select that ship and issue the next order. The light cruiser hull has now had some balance changes. Its speed has gone from 24 meters per second to 26 meters per second as its top speed, and its armor thickness from 24 centimeters up to 30 centimeters. The light cruiser was intended to fight the corvettes and the frigates, as opposed to fighting upwards against the heavy cruiser and the battleship. So with a little bit of extra speed and a little bit of extra armor, the light cruiser now should be able to position itself a little bit better, as well as take a little bit more damage from light weaponry, mainly being the 120mm. The other thing that has received a buff is the 250mm HE RPF, which has had its damage per fragment go from 10 up to 13. So some changes to missile launchers. If we have a look at the MLS, it used to fire all 4 missiles at once.
Missile is away.
Whereas now the missiles will alternate through each of the different launchers before then starting back at the same one. So we can see this in effect if we fire a few more. So we've been given 2 new maps to play on. The first is a 6-player map, so 3 versus 3 with spectators, called Caltrop. So Caltrop is a ice asteroid. You can see the nice ice textures that have been applied and the snowy sort of background. When you zoom in on a ship, you can see the snow particles, and you can really start to see how big the asteroid is once you enter the tactical map, and you can just see how much of the center is occupied. So a lot of this map will be fighting around the arms of the asteroid, which gives a great amount of cover for a lot of different play styles and a lot of different fleet compositions. And the developers have done a really good job in terms of making it so that we fight all around the map as opposed to just one point. So we've got point A up the top, B down the bottom, and then D and C on opposite sides. So let me leave you with a couple cinematic shots of the map so you can just start to appreciate a little bit of the scale as well as some of the textures. So the other map that's been released is Canyon. Canyon is by far one of the largest maps to date, both in terms of players and also size. So you can have 5v5 players with spectators in the game, and it does have one of the longer distances in terms of actual distance to cross each map. So in the tactical map, we can actually see how large it is. It's got 7 control points. So it has 7 control points. It has 1 in the center, 2 on either player's sides, and then 1 up the very top and 1 down the very bottom. So its scale is about 45 kilometers across. So that's 20 kilometers there, and that's 25. So just over 40 kilometers in distance. It has a number of interesting terrain pieces to operate and fight through. So you have a couple of different holes that you can navigate around, something like the Nix's Eye. As we come in here, you can see that you can really get your ships up and under some of this terrain into nooks and crannies that later on they can pop out of and engage with, missile waypoints or sprinters that pop out and start capping points later on. For this map, you're definitely going to want to bring spotters and something that can cap points really quickly because there's a lot of distance to cover. So yeah, just another really good map, a bit more variety to play on in addition to the modded maps that have been released, and it'll be interesting to see what other maps come out in the future. So we've had a few bug fixes as well. One of the bugs that were occurring was when you were deploying into the map and you were flipping the map during the deployment screen, you'd then have a tilted tactical map view. That's now been rectified, as well as repair teams not restoring the capability that they were assigned to restore, consuming the restore as a result, basically allowing for unlimited restores. Otherwise, there's been a few other bug fixes, and I'll just put them on the screen and let you have a read through. I'm quite keen to get on and play on a few of the new maps, and I think anytime we get performance optimization, that is really great because it allows more people to play and it also keeps the game flowing a little bit better. So that's it for now. Have a great game, and I'll see you later.